Well, welcome back. We're going to talk about very briefly on the importance of inviting the audience. Okay? Remember that when you do a pitch, you are pitching to someone, right? You need to make them interested. Okay? And as I mentioned before, what I recommend is that you tailor your pitch, look up the biographies of the people you're pitching to, and kind of tailor your pitch based on them, if possible. Now, sometimes you don't know who the judges are. I got that, right? But some of the things that you can do when you're actually pitching, and I'll talk more about this in paralinguistic codes, is walk around and make sure that people understand what you're saying. If you say something and it doesn't come out right, don't worry about it. Just say it again, rephrase it. People look perplexed and say, well, let me clarify that for you, and then explain. Does that help? Okay? This is what I call rehearsed improvisation. Don't go up there with, 1,000-word pitch or however many, and that you've memorized so clearly. Well, first of all, you're going to be stiff as a board and nervous trying to remember everything you wrote down, so that's not going to work. But second of all, if the audience doesn't understand something that you've said and it's important, be prepared to rephrase it and repeat it again. You want to make sure they understand what you're saying and understand it, or especially understand the language that you use. If the pitch audience or the pitch judges have to connect the dots for you, they may connect them in a way that you're not going to like. So make sure you include them. Walk around the room, make that eye contact. Invite them into what you're doing. Okay? And again, as I mentioned, don't say anything that might be considered as derogatory to your judges. Even if you think that at home, don't, the pitch competition is not the time to bring that out. Make sure that it's a positive experience. Now, some of the things that you can do in a pitch competition to invite the audience, especially when you don't exactly know much about them, you don't know much about their motivations, talk about very general experiences and speak to them. Here's some examples of. We all have kids, and you know what? I've had this problem, and I bet you have too. Don't you hate it when? I heard a really good pitch the other day, and she was talking about, I had this horrible first date. Have you ever had a bad first date? I'll tell you, I did, and this is what happened. Hey, we've all had bad first dates, right? This is something people can relate to. So appeal to these generalized experiences, but make them, if they're not the most positive ones, a bad first date, that's kind of funny and cute for the most part, as long as it doesn't turn into something weird. But what I would avoid is things like, I got fired the other day, and have you ever been fired? Isn't that awful? Well, that's gonna kind of turns people off, right? So try to make sure that they are kind of positive. Those of us that have kids, we've all experienced this. Isn't it crazy? Isn't it tough? Isn't it difficult? Make them, usually kind of positive and upbeat, but also generalizable. Someone told me one time that the most memorable things are ones that are violent and cute. I would avoid violent images in a business pitch competition. Speak to more of, the cute ones. Again, make sure that you communicate to the audience where they fit into your project and where you're going. Remember, you're trying to invite them into what you're doing. If you give me with some sufficient funding, these are the things that we can do. Use a lot of, things like we, or this is what we're going to do. Okay? Using that inclusive and empowering language, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. So, and make sure that you phrase the problem in such a way that they care about. Okay? And I think especially phrasing that problem in a way that they care about is extra important, because the judges may have lots and lots of pitches they're going through. They may have 100 over a 4-day weekend. They're going to have trouble remembering everything. So make sure that you pitch to them, include them. And by the way, again, using the theater metaphor, we can all relate to something that happens in a movie on some level. That's what makes it a good movie. If it's not relatable and it's so far out of our normal experience, that's not a very good movie. That's not a very good pitch. Well, great. I hope you enjoyed this little discussion about the show, and now that we've kind of invited you in, made you part of the team, our next couple videos, it's actually 4, we're going to talk about how to make your pitch memorable, how to use emotion, morals, facts, and metaphors. I hope you enjoy these next 4 videos, and all of them. And as always, if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, a thumbs up, and if you comment down below, I'll respond in the next couple days. Thank you.